starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's going on? What's going on? Oh, hold on a second. Can you guys hear me? Okay, but I'm not showing up on the camera. What's going on? Let me see if I can add you guys on. You guys are in here. Okay, I know why. There we go. Get that off. Okay, here we go. What's going on, guys? As everybody knows, I'm in Grace from Embrace the Grace. I've already got my panel here ready to go. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for showing up. I really do appreciate it. For all my every week embracers, welcome. Thank you for coming, for the not just for your support, for your consistent support, because that was matters. You can support a person for one day, but you can consistently support them, and that's where it really matters. And to all my new embracers, I just want to let you know, strap on for the ride, because I'm building this plane while we're flying it. Gary has become my permanent co-host, Gary, and I thank you very much. I really do appreciate your support. We have the real conversations here. We have the awkward and necessary conversations where they're supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. It's because we don't have those conversations. That's why they're uncomfortable. But me and Gary stress every week, week in and week out, it's all about communication. Nothing goes well without effective communication and comprehension. I've learned that comprehension is a big deal. You can communicate to somebody all day, but if they don't comprehend what you're trying to communicate, it doesn't matter. So guys, sit back and relax, because this is a kind of deep one. And Actual King, he hit me up early this morning. I was up watching his show early this morning. He was like, I want in. I got a few things to say before I go and support his other queen that he supports, and I love her too. Because so, I don't know if you noticed, King, as soon as I'm done with my show, I jump to her show. So in about 4 weeks, I'm switching over to Sunday nights. So I'm gonna be able to go and go ahead and see her every Monday night. So that's my girl, and I love her, and I love the way you support her, just like Gary supports me. So let me go ahead and introduce my co-host, Gary. Introduce yourself, tell everybody where we can find you, and then Actual King will go with you. And then, you know what, King, since you were so adamant about you wanting to say so, I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Me and Gary got all night, but I know you have somewhere to be at 9 o'clock, so I'm gonna get you out the way first. But Gary, go ahead, you introduce yourself and let people know who you are and where we can find you.
Good evening, everyone. What's up? What's up? My name is Gary D. Again, I want to thank Grace for having me on her show and being a co-host here. I'm president of Boardwalk Global Media, a boutique entertainment and podcast company. We do about 7 podcast shows a week. My main show comes on Friday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. It's called The Real Discussion. With Rock Logic featuring Gary Fax and Robin. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and all the other platforms. I'm also owner of ESI Global Group, which is a boutique entertainment management and consulting company. We currently have a hip hop artist that's on the charts now. His name is Baba T. And again, I just want to thank Grace for having me here. And again, you could find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, either The Real Discussion or Boardwalk Global Media.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary. And Actual King Smith, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people where we can find you.
All right, Grace, Gary, thanks for having me. My name is King Smith. I go by the Actual King Smith. Yes, I do pay my taxes with that name. I am a federal employee, a content creator, father, and a guy that just likes to connect with people and talk about the stuff that is on people's mind and coming through people's mouths. I do a regular sports show that I stream on WTF Nation / US Army WTF Moments, which has a reach of about 4 million people. And on my own time, I do a regular vlog that I primarily do every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. US Eastern. I'm starting to kind of venture into this morning thoughts where I kind of see what's going on and talk about whatever it is that literally I'm thinking about in this big old brain. And I can be found on pretty much all social media at The Actual King Smith.
Thank you again for coming on, King. I really do appreciate it. Israel, whenever you're ready to pop on, you know you're welcome to, because you bring a lot to the show. So I appreciate you too. No pressure. Whenever you're ready, the link is there. I put the link there. I'm still trying to learn how to pin it, but it's there. So tell me, King, you saw this topic because, as you can see, what I do every Sunday night, I do a preview, and that's my way of reeling people in, because I have a lot more followers on my other platforms. And I figured what's a good way to bring those followers is to put something out there. And Gary, he caught on today. And I think it's because we're fellow New Yorkers. He caught on to the song. I always have a song in the background relating to the topic, and he caught on to it right away. It was
Nice.
Black Sheep. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You know, you can get with the red pill, or you could get with the blue pill. So you hit me up early. I was up early this morning, still working on my stuff. I didn't go to sleep till after your show this morning. Yep.
Okay.
I'm a night owl. I slept till 2 a.m. and I woke up, and that's when I do my best work. And
Nice.
then, so tell me, what do you have to say about I'll tell everybody later what it's about, what it represents. I got a couple clips, but what do you have to say? What do you have to add to the table with this?
Okay, so I've been on YouTube for a while, and by a while as a consumer since like 2015. But it wasn't until my divorce, which was April of 2019, that I started to hear these terms, red pill and blue pill. Those were the two primary ones. There's this other black pill, purple pill. I don't know too much. I don't get too much into that, but the red pill, blue pill concept fascinated me. And when I initially heard it, I said, all right, let me kind of hear what this is about. And I was catching some content creators like Coach Greg Adams and who else had kind of talked about this stuff? Alpha Male Strategies. Those were the two people who, when I had heard about red pill and blue pill, I started to kind of hear what they had to say. Now, Alpha Male Strategies, I didn't necessarily rock with the way that he spoke about it, but it was something about the way that Greg Adams explained it that made sense to me. Now, my interpretation of how the red pill and blue pill is talked about is that the blue pill it's a reference from the movie The Matrix. Whereas, you know, if you're in the machine and you're in the Matrix, you're happy being in there and you going about your day oblivious to the external stuff that affects you and what's going on around you. Versus where when Neo was given the option to take the red pill, it's like, hey, you can wake up, you can see how things really are, and make actions according to the way that things are in reality, not what's in this made up land or what you choose not to believe given with what you see. So for me, I thought it was fascinating, really getting deeper into like human psychology stuff with what people like to put with the red pill and blue pill. Typically in the manosphere used around like gender dynamic stuff, like, you know, female nature versus, you know, male nature and everything like that. But I was introduced to it around 2020, and I don't know, for some reason for me, it just hit me like a light bulb. And
you know what that light bulb was,
What's that?
King? It was a spiritual awakening.
Okay.
And a lot of us are already awake, but we're groggy. we don't really know which direction to go. But a lot of us are awake, and we're either scared to wake up completely, or we're scared and we go back to sleep.
Interesting.
So when you say that light bulb when it turned on, that was your spiritual awakening, and now it's up to you to decide how awake you're gonna be. That's how I would interpret it,
Gotcha.
because I really do. I guess I was already into this blue pill, red pill thing, but I didn't know it. I watched the movie a long time ago. I really had to refresh. I really wanted to watch the movie this weekend, but time just ran out of me. So I just have the clip of it. But it was through my separation and my healing and going to counseling. That's when we always tend to get closer to God and have our spiritual moments. And I really did sit here one day and think there's got to be more to life than just us being born, going to school, going to college, having babies, getting married. There has to be more. There's no way that God made this beautiful earth and this universe. And that's when I was having my spirit. So I was already a red pillar, because I would be the one to take the red pill, because I'm not content. There's got to be more than what the blue pill. I want to be woke. I want to go through that rabbit hole, because I believe that there is something much bigger out there for us, but it's up to us to get there. We're not going to be put there. We're not going to be spoon-fed. We have to learn it. And I really feel that we relearn our lessons over and over again until we master it. That's how I think. But when that light bulb turned on, Actual King, what did you go through? What were your sentiments like? How did it feel?
All right, so my discovery came across me banging my head against the wall, because I got married at 20, right? So my ex-wife was one of the only females who I really got to know intimately for a very long time. So when I re-entered the dating market, it was brand new to me, and I re-entered it at 34, right? So for me, I was trying to answer the question, why are women like this? That's what it was for me, right? So I started to Google various things and go to YouTube, talk to some of my homeboys, like, hey man, is it just me? Like, am I the issue? Am I just not seeking or attracting good quality people? Like, I feel as though, and I don't like to use the word feel. I'm more an action guy, but I'm like, man, I feel as though I'm doing the right things. I'm moving this way, doing this and that. Yet I'm looking around, and for what I see other people doing, like, it's not jiving with like what reality is showing me. And I was choosing not to accept a lot of different things about what I was seeing. And that was both internally and externally. So when I had that light bulb moment, man, for me, it was just about, oh, wow. Okay. So if I accept this to be this way, then I don't have to be mad or angry about not getting certain outcomes or certain things, because look, this is what reality is showing me. So I went through a bit of an anger phase for a while. Like, man, I can't believe I got duped and hoodwinked and, all this and that. And then when I finally got past that kind of rage stage or anger stage, it's been seeing ever since like around about 2020, I can say confidently I've lived every single day once I call myself red pill aware and accepted things. I haven't been stressed since like summer of 2020. It's been fantastic.
I hear you. So in other words, you would say, because the main thing is you've learned to not get upset about things you can't control. And once you master that, you will find so much peace, because they are who they are. Okay. I've learned that I am not going to allow a person to change my blueprint. It's who I am. I can make adjustments and I can tweak, but I will not allow. I'm a good-hearted person, Have I been hurt before? Absolutely. But am I going to stop that from being who I am? No, because eventually one day I would meet that man that would appreciate the way I am and the way I love and the way but I'm not going to change who I am. Now, I can't say that I'm a fool. You know, it's like a basketball game. You call timeout, you call and you make adjustments. You know, the other team is pressing. So now you're going to make adjustments. You're going to change the plays and you're going to get through it. And if that doesn't work, you call timeout again. You just got to constantly, but some people and mostly men like you that were trying to figure out women, you'll never, unfortunately, some of us just, no matter what you do, you could bring me the moon and the sun and some women would still not be happy. And it's sad. And that's why I advocate for men, especially Black men, because that's all I know. That's my target audience. And I have a Black son, you know, so I have to go there. You just have to stay on your purpose and who you are. And either they're going to go with your program or they're not. And you carry the name King. So you have, not only do you carry it, you have to represent it. You have to live it. You have to show it. And I tell men all the time on my channel, y'all need to start taking your place at the head of the table and stop sitting on the sidelines. Because that's why we all lost in the sauce. I talk about the single mother epidemic. You know, last week was about happy life, happy wife. No more of that BS. Not even no more happy spouse, happy house. I took it up a notch, King. I said happy king, happy kingdom.
Okay.
You know, because women just don't realize the value of men. And once they do realize it, it's too late. It's too late. So Gary, your turn. Your turn. I know you've been helping me do a lot of research on this topic. What's your take on the red pill, blue pill theory?
Well, this is something that's definitely right up my alley. You know, obviously we all know it from the Matrix, but there's a woman by the name of Sophia Stewart, right? She's known as Mother of the Matrix. That's who the Wachowski brothers stole it from, right?
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, that's who they stole. Actually, she also did Terminator, and so there's a couple of things that Hollywood stole from her, right? So it's a black woman, and actually the Oracle is kind of kind of about her, right? That's why the Oracle in the movie is the enlightened one and stuff like that. So you know, the red pill, blue pill, like, I guess with me, because of my nature as a Capricorn, I always felt ever since I was a kid that there was something else, something you're not telling me, right? When I was in school, I always felt like there wasn't telling me everything, the whole story. So many years later, a good friend of mine, an artist by the name of Grand Mixer DST, he got a video from Ice-T in Africa Islam called The Report from Iron Mountain. Now, the report from Iron Mountain, basically, some people would call it like the script for the New World Order. And I saw this like 30 years ago. And when I read that, when I saw that video, it's like a 4-hour video. And I sat through it for 8 hours straight. When you talk about like, the brother over here said he had a light bulb went on in his head. After watching this video, a whole city block lit up. Right? I'm like, okay, so I didn't feel like I was crazy. Not saying that I was, but things all started to make sense, right? I'm like, okay. So from that point on, I started looking at things differently, dealing with situations differently, in terms of just dealing with not only everyday life, but the things that affect our life, and knowing that there's certain things that we can control, there's certain things that we can't control. I'm one of those people that I need to know what's going on, right? Like, the best analogy I could give is that when you open a door and the room is dark, some people want to walk in the dark room. I'm going to turn on the light, right? Like the natural instinct is to, when you open the door, you turn on the light to see what's going on.
Gary, I go a step further. I remember me and my roommate got into an argument about this a couple years ago. I don't believe in walking into a dark house. I want lights on already, because if I walk into a situation, I want to be ready. I don't want to turn the light on and then be surprised or walk into a dark area. So we would argue. He would turn off all the lights when I come in the house, and I'm like, what's going on? I need the hallway light on, the light over the stove that we all use as a night light. I need something, and I get it. I don't like walking into the unknown.
Right, and this is what, and that's my point. It's like not walking into something that you don't know, or not walking into the unknown. So I need to be aware of what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. Once you're aware of what's going on, then you know how to deal with things better. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the red pill, as how Morpheus said in Matrix, let me take you down the rabbit hole and I'll show you how far it goes. Some people are not mentally capable of dealing with that, right? They're not capable because they've been conditioned so much that you try to wake them up, it'll shatter everything that they believe. And there's some people, they cannot mentally handle that. So they rather, and look, I've dealt with people like that. Oh, they just want to go to work at 9 o'clock, punch in at 9 o'clock and leave work at 5, and that's it. They don't want to do nothing else. Don't rock the boat.
Hamsters in the reel.
Exactly.
Going round and round and round in a circle.
So they don't want, but then those are the same people that when something happens, they're like, oh my God, where did that come from? Or how did that happen? But they clearly don't want to pay attention. And those are also the people that, I like to use the analogy of the ostrich that puts his head in the sand. The ostrich puts his head in the sand, think a problem is going to go away. And that's not how it works. It thinks that once it takes it out, the problem is gone. Well, that's not how it works. So with me, it's about being aware, or as how the term that is popular now called woke. But woke has been a popular term in the Black community for since the 30s, right? It's being aware of what's going on and what's happening. So if you're going to take the red pill and go down a rabbit hole, then you're being woke, right? You're being aware of what's going on, what's happening, and you know how to deal with and navigate situations better, rather than taking a blue pill and just live your everyday life and just be oblivious to things are happening. But when they do happen, then you don't even know how to deal with them or respond.
I've learned that they're problematic, and I learned a lot about people during COVID because I work at Publix, a grocery store. That's one of my jobs. And I noticed, a lot of us do not have survival skills. Okay. And then you have all these blue pill people panicking, and panic causes chaos, and chaos causes decisions that could be detrimental to me, you, because they don't know what to do. Whereas me, I was in the panic zone, but I kept my cool because one, I'm at work, and two, I kind of expected this to happen. It says it in the Bible. It's in Revelations. Everything that's going on right now that we're living, I'm not surprised about it because I've read about it. I've known about it. The wicked weathers, these fires, these floods, the famine, the disease, the killing, the hatred between mother and husband and wife, mother and child. All of this is supposed to be happening. And if you're woke, you'll see it for what it is. But most people are in denial, or like you said, Gary, want to keep their head in the sand and don't want to deal with it. But then us red pill takers are preparing, are getting ready, are doing the necessary. But now these blue pillars become dead weight, and now we have to decide: are we going to carry them or we're not? That's where it hurts us. And it's funny that you say that a lot of people can't mentally handle it. I went to a friend of mine, you know, the friend that you see here all the time, Alimani Rivera, Gary. That's
Yeah.
my girl. And I started talking to her about that, and we stayed up to like 5 a.m. talking. And I said to her at the end of the conversation, why you never came at me with this? She was like, because you wasn't ready. I don't come to people with this heavy shit because you wasn't ready. I would have shook you to your core, and you would have never been the same. And then it could either go good for you or bad for you. I knew you would come to me eventually, but I had to wait till you came to me. And that was one of the most eye-opening nights and most deep conversations I ever had with another human being, because everything I asked her, she had an answer. She had an example. She was like, well, remember when, because we lived together and she was my office manager when I had my limousine company. So she was running shit. All she would do with me at 9 a.m, give me my cup of coffee, my list of things. Here, boss, you got this to do. I'll see you in the afternoon. And I didn't have to worry about anything. So we knew each other really well. She was like, remember when this happened? Well, that was because of this. Remember when that happened? And it was like amazing. And she didn't feed me too much that night. But now when we have our conversations, she'll check on me. So where you're at with this? Are you ready for this conversation? Are you ready for that conversation? And it's just so enlightening. Sometimes it gets too heavy, and then I'll be like, you know what? I need to just sit on this. Let's go back to it, because it is a lot. That rabbit hole is deep, and we've been
it definitely is deep. It definitely do. I can
we've
tell
been
you that.
conditioned and brainwashed, Gary and Ashley.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Like, don't even get me started. Don't get me started. But
Exactly.
I can tell you that when I was talking about the video, the report from Iron Mountain, which that was a document that was done behind the back of the Kennedy the Kennedy administration. Now, it talks about, you know, what's going on, what's going to be happening in the next 50 years. And some people say it's the script for the New World Order. Now, if you ever saw the video or even you read the book, you're talking about at a time when they did this, they talked about they talked about the internet, they talked about COVID, but they didn't call COVID by name. Like everything they sort of laid it out, right? Mm-hmm. So for anyone that has seen the video or read the book, they would have been aware of what was transpiring the last 50 years, right? So for the people that I've spoken to that are interested in these type of conversations, to your point, I've said to some people, I'm like, you know, I'm not going to refer this video to you because this might shatter everything. Like, actually, the first thing that I tell them is that if you're going to watch this, forget everything you were taught.
Well, Gary, I'm going to need you to put the link to that video and the book, because over here we inform people and we teach them new ways to become better versions of themselves. So whenever throughout the show, go ahead and do that for me. So let me get caught up on my comments. Hi, Grace. How are you? Thanks for coming as usual. She says, what's up, sis and gents? Yes, we do have two Grace. So when we're in the same room of other chat rooms, they call me Embrace and they call her Grace. So we don't get them confused. And then Coco Dream said, good evening. Great topic. Grace came back and said, I know who that is. When you know your truth worth, then those unworthy of you won't shake you with their antics.
That's true.
And that's absolutely right. You got to stand 10 toes. And then King must have been laughing and said, we got two Graces. Hey, we need all the grace we can get in this world we living in today. So Grace came back and said, when you have sat in the dark for so long, the light becomes physically offensive and initially hurts when turned on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I
Yep.
agree. The light, you know, the first thing you want to do is put your arm on your eye so it don't hurt.
Yep.
And this is absolutely right. You can't have these times. I did have a conversation with another person, but he came so hard at me and threw so much at me. He rattled me. I said, look, I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow, because he kept sending me things. Well, you know, we got clones walking around. There's shit going on in the government. Da, da, da. It was too big of a bite for me. I said, look, Mike, I'm gonna have to like marinate in this. Do you know I still have not talked to him? He'll still send me things, but I wasn't ready. I still would consider myself at the intermediate level spirituality, because I'm still learning. Because when you've been raised for so long a certain way, to kind of like wash that out and start over, it's kind of hard.
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
people have been, listen, everyone, black and white people, have been indoctrinated, right? So, or as the Matrix would say, they've been programmed. So, and a lot of people are not ready to be deprogrammed, because it goes against everything that they believe and they were taught. So they're not mentally capable or even ready to handle that.
And then you have groups like the Illuminati, the Masons. You know, you have a lot of different ideology out there, and you just don't know what to believe. So I think as long as you keep God in your life and stay spiritually and have good intentions, which I know the road to hell was paved with good intentions, but as long as you remain a good person and don't hurt nobody and advance yourself and become a better version of yourself, then I think you're on the right path.
Well, look, I mean, back in Africa, and this was before Christianity came in, because spirituality and religion is two different. Black people were spiritual in Africa.
Absolutely.
Right? They were spiritual. There was none of that Christianity stuff going on. They were spiritual.
And that was all brought by the Puritans and the Europeans over here, and everything was, you know, Native Americans are very spiritual people too.
Of course, yes. Absolutely.
And that has been tried to be deprogrammed as well, but they fought hard. You know, unfortunately, African Americans and melanated people can't get the same benefits that the Native Americans got. But you know, we fighting. And Coco Dreams said something. She said the World Economic Forum says you will own nothing and be happy. He sets the stage for a permanent service underclass. Absolutely. And then what's funny about it, it's not gonna just be us blacks and melanated. You're gonna see your white comrade right next to you, because everybody thinks it's a race thing. No, this is a government thing. This is rich people thing. They want to be on top and stay on top and make sure that they rule the world. Like, do you guys really think it was a coincidence that the Cash App co-founder was deleted, and all of a sudden now the federal government is about to start a new Fed's funds? You know, I better not say too much because I don't want my life to be taken out yet. I mean, you guys got to see, you know, you got to see things. You got to question things. You know, a lot of people accuse me of being a conspiracy theorist, but you have to. You can't just accept things for what they are. Things are happening for a reason.
Well, listen, I will tell you this. I know in my time in corporate America, when something happened in the company, we would have a meeting and come to, and if it's 5 of us or 10 of us in a room, we would come together and come up with, okay, what's the story that we're going to tell the public, right? So, and I say that to say with a lot of these big corporations, politicians, major things that go on, it's the same thing, right? So there's a story, the story has already been conceived on what they're going to tell the public. And there's some people that are just going to eat up what has been told. And then there's other people that's going to be like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't make any sense.
And just like Judge Judy said, if it don't make sense, you're lying. It's not, if it doesn't fit, it's just like, you think all that news about the COVID was all true, everything that was going on. I mean, knock on wood, and I hate to say, but I never got COVID, and I worked.
I never got COVID either.
The thing is, I was manipulated. And, my freaking cousin, I did get vaccinated, and I needed his help. And he was like, and he's a doctor. And he was like, in order for me to help you, you're going to have to get vaccinated. Because, of course, he's a doctor. He believed in it. So I stayed on the phone with him for 2 hours and asked him questions and questions and questions about the vaccination. Because I was the one that was saying, okay, I'm going to let everybody else take it and see what happens. And then I'll take it, in the latter phase. But because he kind of forced me to take it, I did. But don't you know that every night I pray and hope that the side effects don't get at me? Because I don't know if you guys are realizing this, but people are dropping like flies right now.
Of course, I know that. I know.
And that's part of the plan, people. Depopulation. That was part of the plan. All of a sudden, you go in for a physical checkup. You come out with a foot taken off. You don't have circulation, like your situation you were talking about this morning, Actual King. That needs. I'm so glad that your doctor wanted a second opinion, because for a doctor to ask for a second opinion, he really wants to get clarity on your situation. And I was really happy that he did that for you, because most doctors are very arrogant and think that they're always right.
There are some doctors that are actually good, right? That they actually really want to help you and do the work. Then there's others that just fall in line.
Did you get vaccinated, Actual?
I did. Now, for me, I was one of the, I ain't gonna say the first people to, be in line per se, but I never had a problem with it initially. But I'm coming from a guy who was active duty.
Military.
Yeah, we got stuck with some of everything. So I'm just like,
that's why I'm saying you're pumped with so much shit.
My brother was in the military. Like, he did the whole Desert Storm and Gulf War and all that shit. And the horror stories that he told me, bro, like, y'all, all the stuff y'all were getting shot up with. So I understand. I totally understand.
Even just to take a trip to Africa, I heard you have to take numerous of vaccinations.
Yep.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
so we got Israel in the house. The champ is here. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing?
All right.
We're doing well.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming and joining us. Introduce yourself. Let people know where we can find you, and go ahead and talk your shit.
So I'm having a little bit of shortness of breath tonight, so y'all got to bear with me.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to get amped up too much, okay?
Well, you never do over here. You're good over here. Maybe it's because it's me and you've embraced me, but you get amped up on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good conversation so far. Y'all can find me anywhere on social media. I am V Ben Israel, the People's Champ. You can definitely find me here on YouTube, People's Podcast. You can find me here on YouTube on the JVJ Network as well. Holla at your boy.
Absolutely. So now, actually, back to you. So do you think that vaccine could have, because you said you don't have no family history. I mean, I was thinking about all of this morning when you were talking about that. You don't have family history. Nobody in your family has heart condition. Do you think this could have been a side effect of the COVID vaccine?
So my heart condition was the reason why I got medically retired from the service back in 2009. Now the interesting part, but the interesting part though is this, right? So because I was enlisted aviation worldwide deployable, we had to take some of all vaccinations to be able to travel to all of the countries that people can fly into. And I didn't have the condition when I came into the service. Like everything, my EKG and all of that stuff was normal. So back then they ran a DNA test to see if I had the marker for the condition, and I didn't at the time. Well, this doc that I talked to today said that he wants to do another more broad genetic test to see if maybe they can look and see something that's different. So they're going to schedule that. I don't have that on the books yet, but I'm damn curious to see
Me too.
how those markers are going to be now that I've had some time pass, that I've got these, other vaccines and things like that, to see if my DNA and the whole body makeup is going to be different. And I
Has
don't
been
mind,
altered.
and I don't mind talking about this stuff. As you could tell, like, I just, hey, like, I'm speaking what's on my mind. I don't mind sharing it. And for the people that pop over to my channel, like Grace did this morning, she had heard that. So
Yeah, and I was curious. I'm like, man, I need to ask him, because there's a lot of people that have gotten a lot of medical conditions that they never had till they took that vaccine. And I get it. There's gonna be side effects to everything. There's gonna be side effects. So it is what it is. We just gotta be careful.
It was unfortunately, it was a big money play for the vaccine companies. Vaccine companies like Pfizer and all of them, they're all publicly traded multinational companies, right? They went in already having government contracts, right? And if you ever dealt with a government contract, that's guaranteed money, right? So they had that. So anybody that has been an investor in Pfizer and any of the other pharmaceutical companies that have made the vaccine, they have made a ton of money, because when they do the investor calls, it's about, how much product they're going to be putting out there. And when they talk to their investors, or they're letting their investors know, like, hey, look, we just got a $500 million contract with the government, or we just got $1 billion contract with the government. That's music to your ears if you're an investor.
Absolutely.
Now, if you go back and look at Pfizer and some of the other companies, their financial quarters, you're going to see how much money they made off the vaccine.
Yep. Gary, not to interrupt you, but I know that Actual King has to go and support his girl Precious. So I'm just going to go ahead. Any final thoughts? First, I want to thank you again for coming. I really appreciate your feedback. You're welcome here anytime. You got a spot at the table. Okay. We might have to fight. We might have to fight for some of the food, but you got a spot at the table. So go ahead and give us your final thoughts and what you have to say, and you can go ahead and jump on Precious.
All right, yeah. So first of all, thanks for allowing me to come on. I do find this topic of red pill and blue pill fascinating. There was something that Grace said in the comments, and something that Embrace said earlier that I like to kind of foot stomp. I think for a while, once I got kind of woken up, I wanted to go talk to everybody. Like, hey man, like, why ain't y'all tell me? Or have you noticed? Yada yada. No, like, people have to be kind of ready to receive
exactly
that information. And I had to learn that. I was getting frustrated when I'm like, bro, it's right here in front of your face. Why are you not seeing this? Don't be me. Don't be the guy that awakens and then wants to go and try and, tell everybody. No, folks need to be ready to embrace it. See what I did there? And that's what I have to say for that. And also, you've inspired me, Grace. Your intro followed by that countdown.
I love that countdown.
Fire.
It feels me. And anticipation. I will not let that. I still need a nice intro. Like, I love Precious intro, but that countdown is. I know you like that. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I like the countdown. The music had me over here kind of bopping for a second, right?
I saw you.
So I shared that because you've inspired me to work on mine, and I'll be making a change before the end of May is out as
Awesome.
well. So
Awesome.
uh,
So I'm glad. Anything to make you better. That means I've done my job. So again, thank you for coming. I'll check you out on her live as soon as I get off of here, because I always try to make it at 2 hours. My max is 2.5 hours, because I've learned that most people's attention span is not that long. Exactly. So plus I want to go see Precious. So have a good night, Actual. I'll see you later. Okay.
all right, y'all.
Take
All right,
care, my
peace.
dear.
Peace.
So Israel, time for you. You know, Grace, hold on. Grace is getting on your ass right now. She was like, not to interrupt Miss Grace, but at Israel, sweetheart, please go get your oxygen level checked. You're struggling to breathe too much. So she's watching. Okay? She's watching.
Yeah, I'm aware of my
then,
condition. I'm all right.
And then
It's just
Coco
my
said
my
the
fluid's a
vaccine-
little high right now.
Okay, as long as you know what to do and how to take care of it, then we're good. And then Coco said the vax and the boosters are still not FDA approved. Exactly. And they wanted our kids and every one of us. Gary, are you vaccinated?
Yeah, I actually, so I got, I had
What
to
made
do my
you
vac-
do it? I'm kind of surprised, because we're
Yeah,
like
but
2
here's
weeks
the,
apart.
I had to do it. So, I had to, and I was, I guess I want to say I was one of the, maybe the last, quote unquote, last ones, but here in New York, if you were in the entertainment business,
Oh, that's right.
right, in order to go to, you know, into some certain companies, meetings and stuff, you had to take it. So,
It was blackmail.
I did, right? So now my experience with that was, so what are we, what 20, so when I took it, it was September 2021, I believe it was. The first shot was okay. The second shot, which
Ooh.
came 3 weeks later, and it was the Moderna shot, it sent me to the hospital. And basically what happened, it gave me a urinary tract infection, right? So it made me bleed. Never in my life have I ever had that. I took it the Friday. The Sunday I was in the hospital. The doctor that I went to go see, you know, they did all these tests and what have you, and came back, oh, well, it's a urinary, you know, that's what they call it. So they gave me, you know, they gave me antibiotics. In the discharge papers, they didn't even put that it was from the vaccine. They covered it up to be, oh, well, just a urinary tract infection, when clearly nothing in my medical history ever showed that I had a urinary tract infection. So clearly it came from the vaccine. You understand?
Yeah, because that was the only thing that was different prior to you getting that. I mean, not to get into your personal situation.
Well, no, but I'm just saying.
Sexual intercourse that weekend, you know, because you were too busy trying to get over the shot. So what else could it have been? Do you know that hospitals made money, Gary?
I know. Oh, I just trust me. Listen, they were getting, what is it? Oh my God, I got to get the numbers.
They were getting $100,000 per death in the hospital if they wrote that it was due to COVID, and knowing damn well that it was other issues.
I sat, and I don't know if I told you, I used to be on the Council of Advisory Boards for New York City Health and Hospital Corporation. We're the largest public hospital system, not only in New York City, but in the country. So when I tell you, I got stuff straight from the Department of Home, Health and Human Services and all that stuff. I heard all that shit. So, and all the information that went out, I saw what was going on. So a lot of things that were being told on the news wasn't really upfront, right? There was a lot more deaths than what was reported. There were people that were dying, and because so let's just say, and I'm just gonna, if you died from an asthma attack, I don't know, it's like, let's just say it's $100. But if you died from COVID, it's $1,000. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big money maker for the hospitals.
You know, a lot of nurses are traumatized.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have
Yeah.
a coworker that left her job as an ICU nurse, making almost $110,000 to come scan groceries because she just couldn't put up with the lies and the misery. Oh, you can't see your family. You know, they're dying and they're dying alone. And it's just, people went through a lot. A lot of people don't realize because they were just home trying to figure out how they're going to get toilet paper. I told my son, we got a hose outside. Do your thing and I hose you down and you go take a shower. It's not that big a deal, people. But you should have seen what people went through to try to get sanitizer and toilet paper. That's why I said we do not have any survival. That's why I'm close.
Well, look, but also too, look how they screwed up people. So when all of this stuff hit, people went to the store to buy toilet paper, right? They went to go buy toilet paper, but mind you, the section that had all the vitamins that you're supposed to be taking, that's all full. Nobody touching that. But everybody running to go get toilet paper because they felt that they're going to run out of toilet paper. Like that's most important.
And then I love the fact that we would not take any returns back. You know, you want to buy all this shit and then now you want to bring it back. Nope. And then we put limits on things because people were being so selfish and so greedy. It was crazy. You guys don't realize the stress alone that people who worked in the grocery department industry, and while we were out here still working, people would use the excuse to come to the grocery store to get out of the house. Really? So you're coming to the store because you're bored and you want to expose me? I gotta go home to my kid. But they didn't care. And when I saw the gloves on the parking lot, the masks thrown on the floor, it was just like, wow. People just really just don't give a shit. They really don't. They really don't. So Israel, what do you have to say about the blue pill, red pill theory?
Well, now I listened to y'all talk about it in the beginning. Good points. And I was listening to the King talk about that light bulb go off, and the red pill. You know, some people think taking the red pill instantly gives you all the information, but it doesn't. The red pill represents your willingness to learn how deep the rabbit hole goes. You know, if you think about Neo, when he took the red pill, and it wasn't until the end of the movie where he really started to get it. And he started to see the code. But there was a gap in between him taking that pill and him seeing the code. And I think that concept has gotten lost in the manosphere. You can't force the red pill on somebody either.
You got to be built for it.
But they got to be willing to. They got to, and I totally understand what you're saying. There's some people who they in the beginning they want to take it, and I think that those of us that have already, I guess, been there, it's like, look, this is gonna be, you know, you may see some things that's gonna make you uncomfortable. You know, some realities gonna that's gonna be revealed and stuff like that. So some people may not go all the way down because again they can't they can't mentally take it.
Exactly.
But then they're gonna be stuck in that rabbit hole because you can't come back out. You can't do
no.
red pill.
They won't even make it to the rabbit hole. They're just gonna be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Period. They haven't made it to the rabbit hole. You know,
you gotta surround yourself with people who are like Actual King. He was trying to get all the information at one time, and like my friend, when I asked her, why do you ever talk to me about this? She was like, because you weren't ready. But I knew that eventually you would come, you would be ready, and now I'm here ready to to talk to you about it. And anytime I have questions or anytime I'm doubting something, I call her, because she's much deeper in the rabbit hole than I am. And because I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to learn, she's to reciprocate that information to me. So with that being said, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of information, and then I'm gonna show you the clip from when made all of this.
Hold on before you do that.
Yes, sir.
A wise man once said, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. Right?
Is that Bruce Lee?
No, Bruce Lee came on and expanded on that.
Okay.
So there was another master who came to Bruce Lee and wanted Bruce Lee to teach him Jun Kuntu, whatever his style was. Bruce Lee had a cup of coffee on his desk, and he says, "Well, this coffee represents you." And he took a cup of water and started to pour it into the coffee cup, and it spilled all over the floor. He says, "You gotta empty yourself, basically unlearn everything you think you know for me to be able to teach you. But as you are right now, you ain't ready." It's basically what Bruce Lee was saying to him.
See, what you said right there is kind of what I've said to people when it comes to the video I was saying, the report from Iron Mountain. Like, before you see that video, you got to forget everything that you were taught, because it'll only confuse you, right? And I think that when it comes to stuff like that, you have to let people know, like, look, what you were taught, you got to forget that if you're going to watch this or you're going to read this, because it'll confuse you and it'll, make some people lost. So you got to sort of prep them. But then there's some other people that you kind of got to spoon feed them little by little, right?
Because
Yeah, no, exactly.
They don't have the
that
mental
concept actually is talked about in the Bible, and uses the reference of milk and meat. You don't feed a baby meat; you feed a baby milk to help them build up their nutrients, and then you start weaning them off the breast. But see, sometimes people, they want the answers right away. You know they're not ready.
They're not,
So you got to spoon feed them, as you just said. You got to breastfeed them. That's Hebrews 5:12. If somebody could read that for me.
Hold on, let me.
Hebrews 5:12.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
and then Coco Dream said, "What happens when you have knowledge of the red pill and find that you are powerless to stop it? Do you go underground?" Damn.
To stop what?
Stop what, Coco? And look, I wrote what you said, Israel, because it was awesome. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's a good one.
I think I think when it comes to those of us that understand dealing with the red pill and has taken a trip down the rabbit hole and continues to do so, it's important to find more people like us, right?
Mhm.
And sort of there's a community out there, right? And there are a lot more people that are more awake now than 20 years ago, than 15 years ago.
And there's going to be more white people than now, 20 years ahead of us.
Right. So it's important connecting with those type of people, and having them understand, because strength is in numbers, right? And what the powers that be don't want to happen, they don't want you to be aware. They don't want you to be woke. There was another interesting movie years ago called oh my God, skipping me now.
What happened?
They Live. They Live.
Okay.
They live.
Right.
They live.
Yeah, there was it was a wrestler by the name of Roddy Piper. He was one of the actors. I think that was his first major movie, but it was called They Live. And it's sort of around that where basically it was the signs and things around you, you see it with your regular eyes, right? Everything looks the same. But then there was these glasses that were made, you put on the shades, and it shows you, when you look up at certain signs, it may say, obey, consume, don't do this, don't do that. So that's another movie that I think people need to watch to sort of get an idea of what we're talking about and what's actually happening, right? Because a lot of things in that movie has come true, right? Where people obey and they consume.
You're absolutely right. Now, what it was Hebrew what?
5 and 12.
5 and 12?
King James Version. Mm-hmm.
All right, hold on. So let me go into my Hebrew. 12 and 5, right?
5 and 12.
5 and 12, sorry. Okay, 5. Okay, here we go. What is the, okay. It says here, you have been believers so long now that you ought to be teaching others. Instead, you need someone to teach you again the basic things about God's word. You are like babies who need milk and cannot eat solid food.
So this is that concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the King James Version, but it was okay.
Okay, my bad.
But that's that concept of milk versus meat, or spoon feeding somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And the Israelites don't call it red pill. They would describe it as coming into the truth. It's the same thing. No, coming into the truth.
Okay.
Okay. And we teach people when they first come into the truth to be silent, to listen and learn. You know, because they come in with a lot of questions, and a lot of times they're not ready for the answers. They wouldn't understand the answer if you showed it to them.
Exactly.
So you got to build up their nutrients first.
That's a very good analogy.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that concept in different cultures throughout history. You know, even with Peter, you'll see people who often they rely on Paul's letters. They always run straight to Paul's letters. John 3:16 is their favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
But Peter, being the chief apostle, he's describing what he's seen people do. And he says they do this because they're unlearned and unstable. Paul's letters are hard to understand for those people because they're unlearned. They haven't learned enough to be able to interpret Paul's letters. So they get confused. Absolutely. And it leads to them being unstable. Double-minded almost. You'll see that word
I have
a
my
lot
Dottie, my goddaughter here. She made it tonight. She said, good evening. Good evening, my dear. How are you? Tonight's kind of heavy, so if you got something to say, bring it. We're talking about the red pill, blue pill. And speaking of that, I haven't even gotten into my information. We're already an hour into the show, which that's awesome because I'm not as prepared as I was. I'm usually am. So you see, you
Did Coco ever tell us what she was talking about?
No, she didn't. We still waiting on Coco. Coco, we asked. Let me put her comment back up. She said that all knowledge we've been taught. Okay. Oh wait, she said something else. That all knowledge we've been taught is a lie, and there are people in control that cause confusion, fear, and I don't know what that word is. SOU. So come back, Coco. Just come on. You bring it. Just come on.
Some getting lost in translation.
So let me just give y'all some information because I always have to give you the information. Terms red pill and blue pill originated from a scene in the 1999 film The Matrix, which I do have the clip, by the way, that I will show. It represents a choice between the willingness to learn and potentially unsettling, life-changing truth by taking the red pill, or remaining in the contented experience. The red pill is the path of philosophy, reasoning, critical thinking, science, and testing. The blue pill describes a continuity of, I can't even read my own handwriting, of a convent state of life. For example, life without knowing its meaning or running away from the truth in order to stay as is. It's like waking up in a bed without caring for your destiny or such profound ideas. That's how it was expressed in the movie. And then the red pill is also described as a solution for knowing the real truth in life. It is a continuing into the rabbit hole, or in other words, continuing to learn about lies that were set in the world in order to break them down and obtain from freedom. Whereas the blue pill is that of simple, uncritical belief and emotional decision-making. Shall it be? Education, the liberal arts, and sciences gravitate more to the blue pill. So you as a person know where you fall right away. You know, you can tell what type of personality are you. Are you the red pill or the blue pill? And there's not a right or wrong answer, guys. I'm not here to judge nobody. I'm not here to tell people what they should believe and what should they. I'm just giving you information to sit on and think about. And if it enables you to become a better version of yourself, then by all means, embrace it. So with that being said, let me go ahead and set up this clip for you guys. So anybody who really hasn't seen it, I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, but now I want to see the whole movie. We're supposed to watch it this weekend, but the weekend got away from me. Give me just a second. Let me set this up for you guys. Share screen. Movie clip. Share. Okay. Give me just a minute while it loads. Now, I guess I should play.
What it is. The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window. When you pay your taxes. Truth. That you are a slave, Neo. And in prison that you cannot smell. Unfortunately, no one can be. To see.
It's skipping. We're not hearing the whole thing.
No, this is just a.
You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the red All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
You want to see that movie now, don't you?
I got it. Listen, I
definitely gonna see
got all
that
four of
movie
them.
now.
I got all three of them.
Oh well, I'm gonna have to veg out and watch them because, and it's funny. Let me see if you guys agree with me. Do you think that movies and books and entertainment is a foreshadowing to what's to come? Or am I?
It's always prepared you for what comes next.
Yeah, they, you know, I've always said this. Some of these things that we see in movies, they want you to believe, or they want us to believe that a script writer just came up out the air with some of these things.
Yeah,
and no. So there's a lot of things that they show you in movies that is, you know, that's foretelling, right?
exactly.
So,
I'm gonna give you a perfect example, Gary and Israel. When 9/11 happened, and I finally saw it on the news happen, my brain already saw that image. Do you remember in the movie Independence Day when the Empire State Building went down? So my brain was registering the news, but my brain also said, hey, I remember seeing something like this. This doesn't seem, you know, it wasn't as drastic. You know, we all knew it was a movie, but it was from that time, 9/11 and Independence Day is when I connected the dots. Like, you know what? These fuckers got us watching things to foretell us. And the ones that are woke will pick up on it. The ones that are half asleep will hopefully wake up. And the ones that are sleeping will get the nudge and maybe get it, because I really think that it's a foreshadowing or foretelling of things to come. What do you think, Israel? Do you think our entertainment world, books, plays, movies get us prepared for future things to come?
In 1976, Star Wars was released.
Okay.
In 1986, Ronald Reagan came out with what? The Star Wars program.
That's right.
Right? Go back 20 years, right? From right now. So that would be like 03, 04. Look at all of the movies that were coming out. Virus, pandemic type movies. 12 Monkeys.
Okay,
Right?
so you would agree with me. You're seeing and feeling the same thing I'm feeling. Even
Gets deeper than that.
Go ahead.
In 1999, I believe it was Kuntz that wrote a book. I forget the title of the book, where he predicted COVID down to the month and year in 1999.
That's crazy.
There was also a movie, Contagon, with Lawrence. Yeah.
Contagion. Yeah.
With Lawrence Fishburne, and that
all of
kind
those.
and that kind of laid
everybody
out.
was in that movie Contagion, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Matt Damon was in it. Ashley Judd.
And that was
a lot of people was in that movie.
And that was years before COVID. COVID.
It was like 03, 04.
Yep.
You guys remember I Am Legend?
Yep.
With Will Smith?
They filmed that in my neighborhood.
I mean, look at what happened. He was the only one that came up with the cure, but it wiped out New York City. I mean, it's like, you know what movie?
It wiped out the whole country.
With the movie I Am Legend, the whole country.
Yeah, the whole country got wiped out.
I refuse to watch this movie because I get spooked sometimes. That's why I don't see horror movie. I had to see The Purge because I know that is soon to come too. So that's why I stay close to military people and law enforcement people, because they may be, and yeah, some of them are crazy, but they ready. You know, I was dating one guy, he showed me his closet. I'm like, well, damn, are we going to Iraq? What's going on with you? Are you suffering from PTSD? He's like, nah, you got to be ready. because y'all just don't know. Y'all civilians don't know, but we know. And I'm like, oh damn.
Well,
I mean,
another movie that's important
okay.
is Inception.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And this addresses that. I don't like the word woke. Because the only time you use the word woke is when you're talking to sleepy people.
So what would be a better word?
Nothing. Because any of those words are going to describe somebody who's not fully cognitive. Now, in the 80s and 90s, what do we call it in New York? Knowledge of self.
No, yeah.
You know, that, you know what I mean? And them dudes didn't know shit. Okay.
The 5%.
5%ers, right?
Yep. Yep.
Knowledge God, peace God.
Yeah.
But you think about Inception, it's a dream within a dream within a dream. So people think they're woke. They're just at another level of a dream. They're just on another level.
Absolutely right. Like even having this live right now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I feel like inside churning. You know, like my spirit it's awake. We're talking about this. We're informing people. We're trying to wake people up, and then I can feel inside getting. It's not a bad feeling. I'm getting overwhelmed. Like, yeah, you know, we're getting this out. We're educating people. I hope people embrace it.
Everybody's not meant to be woken up.
Exactly.
Right, because not
I
everybody's
always say
coming
that.
for the road.
I always
And the
say
Bible
that.
the Bible talks about that. You know, only 1/4 of the people are gonna wake up. Well, 1/3 are gonna wake up. The other 2/3 are gonna stay asleep. And Christ says himself, my people are gonna hear my words. Meaning my people are gonna hear this information. Other people ain't gonna hear it. They're gonna hear it and they're gonna immediately turn their ears. And you see people react that way. You give them some information and they immediately reject what you're saying. Immediately. It's like, oh, you could just see the physical reaction on their faces.
I don't know the scripture. I don't know the scripture by heart, but a friend of mine read it to me. And he said, Grace, you got to make sure you have oil in your lamp. You can't be worried about feeling not even sun, because your light has to shine when that time comes. And if you taking too much of your time trying to fill up other people's lamp, when it's your time to come, you're not going to be shining, and you have to represent and dwell. Christ has to dwell within you, and he has to see himself in you. And that's what a lot of people do. They try to save everybody, but everybody's not equipped.
Everybody's not meant to be saved. Everybody's not meant to be saved. Everybody's not going to be saved. You know, and then there's some people that don't want to be saved. They rather be like the ostrich and put their head in the sand and think that when they take it out, the problem is automatically going to go away. Doesn't work like that.
But Morpheus say to Neo, they're so hopelessly ingrained in the system. They will die to protect.
Exactly.
So why stay behind and try to fight it? The people that are ready are going to be boarding. We're going to be going where we need to be going, and then by the time they look up and be like, damn, where did Israel and Gary and Grace go? Oh, they're gone. They're gone. You were here too busy bullshitting and not believing in things, and you can't feel bad. You can't.
They didn't believe Moses, even as the water was slowly rising. Remember, it never rained before on the earth. That was the first time anybody ever seen rain. Right? Noah. With Noah. The water slowly rising. And they were still denying it up until the moment the ark doors slammed shut and they drowned. They still were denying what they were seeing.
Well, I mean,
just think about that shit.
no, but there are people like that. But there are people like that right now. Where
Right now, that
where you
spirit is
put
still on the earth.
right where you put the truth right in front of them,
They won't see it.
they won't see it. Like you could spell it out in big red letters or big blue letters.
Neon
or what have
letters
you.
flashing and shit. Like,
They still won't see it. They still won't see it because they're so ingrained in the system, you know.
And,
So yeah,
and Christ said, I came to separate y'all from those people.
yeah,
It may be your mother. It may be your son. I'm going to separate the mother from the mother-in-law, the daughter from the daughter-in-law. Like, I didn't come to bring peace, he said. I came to bring division. I'm going to divide y'all from them people. You can't save everybody.
Well, no, listen, I mean, the truth. So I think that there's also a misconception that people think that the truth is supposed to be nice and warm and fuzzy and feel good and all of that.
It's a double-edged sword. It's going to cut you coming in and cut you coming out.
Exactly. Because there's going to be things that you're going to find out that's going to shatter you. You probably thought that maybe for the first 20 years of your life, this is how things were. Then now you find out. So, it's some people are just not mentally ready or mentally capable of handling stuff like that.
It ain't in them.
Right. Like, so by the time you're 30, let's say now you find out your whole life has been lied to. Some people that's enough to make people do suicide.
But some people love the lie. They don't embrace the grace, they embrace the lie.
They embrace the lie. Right.
Be comfortable with that.
Well, it's easier to embrace the lie.
Yeah.
There's no accountability when you embrace the lie, right?
I've had church people, man. People have been studying the Bible supposedly all of their lives. And somebody will invite me to their church to do a Bible study or a Sunday school. And I start teaching them the Bible right there in black and white. Been there the whole time. And they just reject what I'm saying to them.
Yep.
They lie to themselves and tell them things that are not even in the Bible. They believe it. Only God could judge me. That ain't in the Bible. That's a Tupac song. Right? But they've been believing that shit all their life. The Bible says the opposite. But they believe that. Sex before marriage. Oh, you got to get married first. What does the Bible say that?
No.
Man said that, not the Bible. The Bible says, if you have sex, you shall surely marry her. Not necessarily, but marry her before you have sex. See, a little bit different, right?
So,
A lot of little things. Yeah,
Gary,
it's in Matthew, right?
No, I found this. Remember,
Okay.
living your naked truth will always disturb those living well-dressed lies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's why that scripture says you got to be taught again. You have a need that somebody teach you again. Even though you're at the age when you should be teaching others, you yourself have a need that somebody teach you again.
Hey, the coach always needs a coach. I don't know everything. That's why coaches have co-coaches. That's
But
why
somebody
hosts
has to
have
wean you.
co-hosts.
A baby doesn't feed itself. So Christ said, put yourself in like a child. Come to me as a child. Mentally, he's talking about. You gotta put yourself back in that mentally child state where children want to learn everything. Right? That's what he's talking about.
Mhm.
That's how you come to me. So I could wean your ass off this milk and give you some meat. That's what he's saying. You know, but people don't get it. They try to take it literally. Milk and meat, you know?
Mhm.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
you wouldn't feed a baby solids if he don't have
That's
no
what he's
teeth
saying.
and he don't know how to eat.
And the
Like
digestive system ain't ready for it.
Exactly.
Mentally, you aren't ready to digest what we're trying to tell you. We got to spoon feed your ass.
Mm-hmm.
But people think they know more, especially in the manosphere. You got people who really been dumb all their life. Now they got a Google phone, you know, access to Google on their phone, and they think they know things they don't know.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm sure as you understand, you have to do research, right? And I think that anybody that has taken time to do significant research to follow the dots and stuff like that, then you can back things up. You can speak with facts. But
everybody's not able to do research.
I know.
That's why people fail in school. Well, so you got people who study all their lives and study every day and still fail the class.
Mm-hmm.
See? Because they don't know how to study. They don't have the correct study techniques. Yeah. You know?
but also too, we have a system here where it's off of memory. Like, so it's not like, you know, the majority of school stuff there, it's not even like you're learning, it's just going from memory, right? So now, and I think that one of the skills that really people that they really need to teach in schools is critical thinking.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, y'all talked about it earlier.
That's not taught.
I was listening when y'all were talking about this earlier. Yeah, it's called the psychological term. It's called the illusion of validity. Mm-hmm. So what they do is they basically fill in the blanks with anything to make it to move on. You know, I don't have the correct answer, but I'm just gonna put something on that blank to make it make sense to me. 1 + 1 is cat. You know, even though it don't make sense, in their mind, they convince themselves that it does.
Well, maybe I'll get credit for just putting an answer in. Maybe I'll get something.
Exactly, that kind of shit.
But
the illusion of validity.
But also, too, I also want to add this. We're living in a time where we have companies or media entities that their business model is to basically lie and deceive people.
But it's not in just this time. That's always existed. See?
Is it more prevalent
what they used to
now?
call it in ancient times was crafty counsel.
Well, back then, I mean, I think now it's more, I mean, throughout history, it's been done a lot more subtly, but now we have, companies where you have the CEO of the company is actually saying, well, in not some plain terms that, we know what we broadcast was wrong, but it fits our business model.
They always did that.
Right? So I'm just saying. So
that's why the Romans installed the what did they call them? They basically installed their own religious leaders.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The scribes and the
yeah.
What's the other ones? My mind escapes me right now. And that's why they were always following Christ around, trying to trap him in his words, because he was going against the narrative that they was installed to keep order there, to keep the masses in control. those people were put in place by the Romans.
Mm-hmm. I know that.
You know,
Now, another thing that I noticed was they compared Genesis when Eve ate from the tree of knowledge. They compared the red pill to the blue pill to that theory. How much do you think that connects? Whereas I guess, you know,
no, because see, when she ate from the tree, she got instant knowledge. That's not what the red pill does. The red pill just shows your willingness or your acknowledgement that something just ain't right. I would have learned more.
Okay.
So that's not what Eve was doing. Eve wanted the actual knowledge of a God, you know. And a little bit different. She got the instant knowledge, you know. Like I said earlier with Neo, he didn't get instant knowledge. He had to learn more.
He had to learn, yeah.
And that's why it took him to the end of the movie and getting shot to see the code. You know, he starts to see it for the first time. You know, like, oh shit, like now I'm really coming out of this dream, you know. But it took him a while to get there, you know. People again, they make false comparisons. I wouldn't make that comparison.
I just read about it and I thought it was just a little bit too. It was too much. You know, you can't. You know what happened with Adam and Eve is different from the blue pill, red pill. But I just wanted your opinion, Gary. Do you
that's like with Pearly Things. You hear her saying all the time, "Oh, I red pilled this person," almost like I forced them to wake up. No, you didn't. You can't do that. That's not the way it works.
It was already within them. It was already inside them.
Or it wasn't. Some people will never get it.
Absolutely. I say that too. I say that too. Some people will never get it.
Like, let's use an example. Look at the Titanic. Some people accepted that the ship was going down, you know, and some people didn't. They either jumped or they got on the safe boats or they hung in there. It really depends on a person's personality and how they built and their mental capacity. And like I said, guys, I'm not trying to make nobody.
Well, it goes beyond mental. So when you say it that way, it's almost as if somebody has a mental defect. There's nothing wrong with them. Okay? They just ain't gonna get it. That's it. They're not
capacity to grip around it.
It's spiritual, not mental.
Yeah,
it ain't in them.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys know this, but we are in a spiritual warfare right now. And
we've always been in spiritual warfare. There's nothing new under the sun.
But it's
nothing new under the sun. So we give things credit like it just came out. It's the same shit. It's been going on for millions of years.
Look at the Jetsons, how and the Teslas now. How you got cars, Knight Rider. Remember the show Knight Rider? Where the car used to drive it by itself? Now look, you got Teslas. I mean, these are things that were being done to foreshadow what the future had to bring.
Exactly. That's my point.
And for a person,
so that spirit was here. It was always here.
You're right. Hold on, guys. I'm going to show another clip. Just a second.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't hear the last clip clearly.
You didn't? I'm sorry.
No, it was like Borgen. But go ahead. Maybe it could have been just me though.
Accepts the unpleasant truth, while choosing the blue pill represents willingly believing in comforting lies. But there's actually a lot more to it. The blue pill tend to see our world because of outcome bias, which is a reasoning error that mistakes unequal or otherwise bad outcomes in life as evidence of a bad or unfair process. This leads the blue pill to adopt a conformist and collectivist way of thought, and a system of morality that worships equality above truth, preaches a misguided envy against the successful, and mistakes this love of weakness for compassion. Better. They understand that unequal outcomes aren't necessarily unfair. They realize that those who demand equity are simply angry at the world. So the red pill neither their individuality and reason. They reject collective false improvement and courage. And it's the red pill and the world for what it truly is. So you may have heard of red pilled versus blue pilled, a phrase with origins from.
Okay, so what do you guys think about that? He went in a little bit deeper and talking more about, the belief system and things like that. What do you think about that video, Gary? Start with you.
I mean, I think that, well, it was from the bits and pieces that I got there. I think that, when dealing with the blue pill and red pill, I mean, I think that it's a understand, you have to have a certain mindset if you're gonna go deal with the red pill. And I think that to the video's point of, I guess, the assertions, if you will, he was making about the blue pill. I think the blue pill is more of, okay, let's just stay in let's stay with what the world is now and deal with it like that. And for some people that could be fine, right? Whereas the red pill, it's the willingness to learn, but also, once you've learned this stuff, then you have a responsibility. I think, though, also you'll find out things in the red pill that you're clearly not going to see or be aware of in dealing, if you're dealt with the blue pill. I think it's just a mindset, in my opinion, where you just want, in dealing with the blue pill, everything is just supposed to stay as is, right? And I think that there's some people that's happy with that.
Gary, would you say that blue pillars are complacent with mediocrity? Would that be another way of describing them?
Yeah, I mean, they're happy with the way things is, so they're not gonna rock the boat, right? They're not gonna rock the boat. They're not gonna shake things up. They're not gonna challenge truth to power, right? So they're gonna let things be, right? Whereas the red pill, once you start finding out shit, now you have a responsibility to be to not only try to inform others, but also to do things differently, right? Now you've become aware, right? Whereas, for example, in the blue pill, you see, racism happening. Oh, okay, let it be. We'll deal with it and stuff like that. With the red pill, you see what it really is, and you see what causes it and the effects. So now you have to stand up and say something and do something.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Israel, what did you think of that clip I showed? Do you agree?
Again, it was in and out, so I didn't hear everything.
What about with the definition of blue pillars being complacent with mediocrity? Would that be?
I wouldn't say complacent, because complacent suggests that they have consciousness of an alternative. Blue pillars are oblivious. They don't even know there's another way of thinking.
Okay.
They're unaware. You know,
but
there's no consciousness with them.
I knew from a young age that there had to be more. That there's levels to this shit. There's dimensions.
Well, that's what Morpheus described to Neo in the clip that you played. A little bit before that clip, he's saying to him, it was like a splinter in your mind. You knew something was wrong. You know, that's why you came looking for me. You didn't know why you was looking for me, but you knew something wasn't right. You know, you couldn't put your finger quite on it. And that's how a lot of us feel.
Do you think that that's embedded in us? Do you, like you, me, we had that splinter in our head? Do you think
we all did? That's that light bulb going off.
Well, some of us, I think that there's some of us that are like that, where we knew there's something, like I said it in my piece earlier. When I was younger, I knew that there was something they wasn't telling me. I didn't know what it was.
I felt like that in church.
Right.
I always felt like that in church. And as a little boy.
Yeah, in school, when I was in school, I always felt like they wasn't telling me everything. They wasn't telling me the full story. Right?
Hiding something.
So when I got older and I got introduced to that video, I was telling you, you know, and I saw that and it you know, some people say a light bulb went off. Well, with me, it was like a whole city block or a whole city, you know, went off in my head. Like, okay, now things start to make sense.
Putting the pieces to the puzzle together. Right?
I told you as a kid, you know, my father's people were Muslim. My mother's people were Southern Baptists.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time with both groups. But then I'm still having the same splinter in my mind with both groups. Like,
there's still
something quite ain't right. You know, like, you know, these dots ain't lining up. And that led me to look for more or search out more. I wouldn't just accept what they told me.
And that's what they want us to do, accept what they tell us.
Yeah, as the status quo.
Right, that's what so they don't want us to dig, right? They don't want us to, because if we dig and find out, then we become more aware. We become more enlightened. We know how to deal with them better. We know what not to tolerate and stuff like that. So, and they don't want people to be.
Well, you're no good to them. Like the machine in the machine world.
Exactly.
When Neo woke up, the machine just basically flushed him down the toilet.
Yep.
You're no good.
Absolutely. So I have one last clip, and then we'll wrap things up because we are hitting a 2-hour mark. So this is actually that scene being broken down. So this was interesting. Give me just a minute. Let me get it. Hopefully you can hear it, Israel, because this was really good.
I don't think Gary's hearing it either. I don't think it's just me.
Yeah, no, I wasn't hearing it. I was only getting bits and pieces.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But he's stealing Wi-Fi like Jay.
The term "take the red pill" has transcended beyond the films, and it is now part of today's pop culture. Generally, in order to offer acceptance of the truth, how difficult it is to believe. Although Morpheus gives a metaphorical explanation to what these pills are, behind them lies something much more than just simple colored capsules. Welcome to Matrix Explained. And red and blue pills.
I purposely didn't watch this because I wanted to watch. I just knew it was going to be good.
Welcome to the desert.
Morpheus stuffed these pills. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. There are several hypotheses that could explain what the red pill is. One is that the red pill is some type of poison or computer virus that has several purposes. 1. To wake up from the Matrix. 2. To send a false signal to the machine the person who took the pill had perished. And 3. Tracked by those who gave the pill. As if he had just swallowed poison. He then wakes up and is quickly disconnected by a rope, which we can assume it of the blue pill is more philosophical than practical. As we mentioned in the day to a person, the shock horror of this truth can even kill them. Therefore, it works as an outlet. Morpheus gives them a ones who choose. Female hacker who actually chose the blue pill. She then spent the rest of her days in depression, wondering what would have happened if she had taken the red pill. Wondering what the Matrix is. These questions destroyed her. She went from being an incredibly skilled hacker to being melancholic. This would have been Neo's future if he had taken the blue pill, and the chosen one would have never existed. This pill does not erase memories or anything of the sort. It only represents the ignorance with a question that will never be answered. The blue pill is to accept the lies as truths, settling for not looking beyond what is in front, what reality could be. The red pill is the vital for better or for worse. Which pill would you have? Choose to live in a world of lies to ensure your happiness, or would you have chosen to see how deep the rabbit hole goes? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you.
All right, so that was just, I thought it was good, bit of a little bit more in-depth explanation. So Gary, with that being said, let's go ahead and wrap things up with final thoughts. I mean, I know it's a heavy conversation. Not everybody's ready for it. We might revisit, this topic, because I do get a lot of people hitting me up, be like, yo, that was a great topic. You're going to have to run it again. It's like the short that I did on this on YouTube, I'm going to tell you this right now. And I really do think that YouTube be monitoring things, because last week I got over 400 views on the Happy Wife, Happy Life, right? Mm-hmm. But on this one, I only got 5 views. and I was talking to Jay about it tonight, and before I came on, he was like, yeah, a lot of time it has to do with the title of the show. They might not want to expose it. A lot of these YouTubers, we get throttled, and I didn't know that. So how can one get 332 views last week, but I've only got 5 this week? You see what I'm saying? So it really does depend on the topics that we talk about, because we're regulated everywhere that we are. Like I was nervous about, am I going to get a copy strike showing the movie The Matrix? But because I found the clip, I didn't use the one you sent me, Gary. I used the one that was on YouTube, because if YouTube was showing it, then it should have been okay. And then Jay also told me, well, remember, you're not monetizing yet, so they only copy strike you when you're monetizing. But I'm trying not to start bad habits. You understand what I'm saying? But like, I was able to find one on YouTube, and I was happy to show the clip. So with that being said, Gary, go ahead and give me your final thoughts. Again, let people know where we can find you, and then we'll go to Israel, and then I'll wrap things up, because we're doing good. We're at an hour and 53, so we're doing good.
Well, you ain't gonna be taking out 7 minutes from us.
No, no, sir. I want you to finish your final thoughts, because a lot of times I love the way some people wrap up their final thoughts in a nice box with a pretty bow, because it just wraps everything up. So Gary, go ahead. let us know what your final thoughts are and where we can find you again.
So with the red pill, blue pill, I mean, my final thoughts is for anyone that is a critical thinker or believe that they're a critical thinker, then you definitely want to experience the red pill. For those people that is not like that, who just want to stay as I guess a regular everyday person, want to live life and not rock the boat, then you can stay there. Because, you know, look, the red pill is not for everybody, the blue pill is not for everybody, right? And I think it's important to find out where you're at, right? You know, some people are not built for being able to take the red pill. Some people are not mentally capable or don't have the mental capacity to understand going down the rabbit hole and to see the different truths. And some truths, you know, may not be warm and fuzzy and happy and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, it will allow you to deal with certain things differently. You're aware, you're knowledgeable, you're more awake, right? And I think that that's important, especially, you know, if you want to live your life in a proper way, and when I say a proper way, you want to live very responsibly. On that note, people can catch me on The Real Discussion every Fridays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and all the other platforms. You could also find me on The Real Discussion on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You could also Google or YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, Boardwalk Global Media. That's it. Thank you, Grace, for having me.
I appreciate you. Israel, your final thoughts? And again, thank you for coming on the panel. I always appreciate your input.
You don't have to thank me, baby. I mean, I made a promise to you that I'd be here.
I hear
So
you.
thank you for having me. As you said, I mean, I think people need to go back and watch the movies.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a cartoon series that was very good. Watch that. Watch Inception, because Inception is part of the equation too. You know, it's different layers to it, you know? And people think they're woke, but they're just on they're still in a dream within a dream. And then they're not fully, quote unquote, woke yet, you know? But I always find this stuff, the other pills. There's no such thing as these other pills.
Yeah,
That's
'cause I
crap
think
people made up.
The purple pill, the gray pill. See how everybody runs with it?
Yeah, that shows that they don't understand the metaphor. Because if you understand what the red pill is, all of the other pills fall under the blue pill.
Absolutely.
You believe what you want to believe.
Exactly.
Black pill, white pill. I done heard all kind of pills. The hell are y'all talking about? You know, they don't understand the metaphor.
Ask you, hold on, Andrew. What was the other thing that you wanted us to read? There was a book that was out there, Sophia. What's
The
that
Iron
book
Mountain,
you
he said, or?
Oh, so there's a book called The Mother of the Matrix, right?
Mother.
That's.
Oh yeah, they stole it from her.
Yeah, yeah. So her name is Sophia Stewart. So she actually came up with the Matrix, like the Wachowski brothers. They stole it from her, and then she also did Terminator. They stole Terminator from her too.
And both movies have to take a lot of their philosophy from the Bible too. You know. Yeah. So that's why I guess that's why I always found it fascinating. You know.
And then I put the Iron Mountain. I put the Iron Mountain link in the chat.
Iron Mountain, yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah, the report from Iron Mountain.
Okay, so I put the movies in there. So if anybody wants to take, then you said Iron Mountain.
The report from Iron Mountain.
Is that a movie or is it a book?
It's a documentary and it's a book.
And that's the documentary you said that lit up the whole
Yeah,
block
I
in
put
your head?
I put the link for the documentary in the chat.
Okay, let me see where it is. I must have missed. Did you put it in the private chat or?
Okay, I'll do it again. Hold on. I'll post it up again.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Okay, so what? Israel, tell us where we can find you.
You can find me anywhere on social media, VBen Israel. You can definitely find me here on YouTube, JVJ Network here, Monday nights on Embrace the Grace. We're going to do our Tuesday sports show. We're going to do our Friday the panel on the network.
Yep.
Find me anywhere. I'm all over the place. VBen Israel, I'm the only one.
And again, thank you for coming. I really do appreciate you gentlemen because y'all bring some good stuff to the table. I love their interaction. Now with me, my final thoughts on this is it's really within yourself. If you want to know more, you take the red pill. If you're content with what you know and don't want to move forward, then you take the blue pill. There is no right or wrong, but don't be mad at the consequences after the fact when something happens. And if my red pillars, you need to surround yourself with people that are other red pillars so you can learn and grow and be able to chew on this, because I'm telling you, it's not easy to get deprogrammed, but it's fun and it's eye-opening and it's liberating. Trust me, especially if you're a spiritual person. It works. It works for us red pillars. And as far as Embrace the Grace, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, all of it. I'm all over the place. And I am going to start announcing this to all my embracers. I will be moving my show from Monday nights to Sunday nights starting June 3rd. So start getting used to the idea and wrapping yourself around it. You know, I think it's going to work out better for us because a lot of people have to go to work the next day, Gary.
Okay.
Well, on a Sunday night too, but at least it's a more relaxing night.
Well, it won't put you into conflict with some of the others.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that was the difference in with your numbers. Because I know last week when we did the show, Coach Greg Adams wasn't broadcasting, but tonight he was. So that might have affected your numbers too.
And let me say, Coach, what's his name? Because I hear a lot about him, and I need to go check him out.
Coach Greg Adams, CGA, the notorious CGA.
Okay, so my embracers, get used to the fact we are going to be on Sunday nights. We're going to stay 8 to 10, and I will be going off of the JVJ network. So come check the JVJ network out. Let's talk JVJ. Embrace the Grace, Gary D, Israel. We all are colleagues and we all are working together. So please like and subscribe and support all of us because we all have one common goal, and that is to help people become better versions of themselves. Gentlemen, again, thank you for coming through. I really appreciate it. I'll let you guys know soon what the topic is for next week. Peace. Love you guys. Embrace the Grace. Out.
We out.
Take
Peace.
care.